do something?
Not now, Lisa. I'm trying to listen to the baseball game.
It's the top of the seventh, and oh God, zombies! They're devouring the crowd. Now they're eating my brain. Oh, the pain! Ah!
Oh, all right. I'll get us some survival supplies. Stupid Brockman getting eaten by zombies.
The Simpsons is one of the most well-known adult animated series in the world, but despite referring to it as an adult cartoon, it never truly felt like it was exclusively made for adults. The most the show would ever be was PG-13, minus a few exceptions here and there. They'd say damn or hell, let Homer drink alcohol, and have some occasional violence, but it would rarely ever be rated R. But that won't stop the fans from creating their own treehouse of horrors. Welcome to Cackling Pumpkins, and this is the world of Simpsons horror. Homer's Homicide is a first-person horror where you play as Bart just after Homer kills Marge and Lisa over the closing of Krusty Burger. You must avoid Homer and find the keys to Maggie's room so the two of you can escape. Be careful, for there are toys all over the map, and if you step on one, you'll alert Homer and have to start all over. Homer can be seen sleeping on the couch. It's easy to sneak past him as long as you don't get too close. Find a blue key and get Maggie. This will wake up Homer, who will constantly be chasing you. Bart must use small crawl spaces to avoid Homer and escape. Unlike most horror games, Homer won't just patrol the house and chase you when he sees you, he'll constantly be chasing you, and it seems that the developer has made it so that Homer won't get stuck on a wall in front of him, as he has paths set in the house, and only diverts when he gets close to you. Unfortunately, the door is locked with a pin, and the password is spread all across the house. Once you get the code, you can escape. Or so you think. This is an interesting attempt, and I will appreciate the fact that the creator tried to make their own models instead of using already existing ones, even if the models themselves don't look the best. It was also hard for me to take the ending seriously for the use of AI voices. The fact that AI can mimic our childhood characters is impressive, but obviously the technology just isn't there yet.
Send some help.
Calm down, son. Where are you right now?
742 Evergreen.
Come here, Bart!
No, please, Homer.
Yes, I am real human. I am Homer Simpson for real, dope, and why are you little? But I don't think the game was meant to be taken that seriously, as it is a Simpsons horror game. It's something you can beat in less than half an hour, so the game is short and sweet, just what it needs to be. One of Creepypasta's classic lost episodes. From the days of Squidward's suicide and Suicide Mouse, we get Dead Bart. A story about Bart falling out of an airplane while messing around as the family mourns their loss, constantly crying and wailing over Bart's death. A year passes as each family member becomes skeletal, and Maggie and the pets, Santa's little helper, and Snowball disappear. They decide to go to the graveyard where graves of every Simpsons guest voice are shown, all of which are accurate to their respective deaths. Even ones that haven't died just yet are shown, and most of those share the same date. This was what many lost episode creepypastas were at the time, disturbing plots with the cast acting out of character and showing subject matter they were never meant to in the actual show, either implying that it was made by a crew member or the creator, as the episode would be buried, or something that comes on its own and implies to have connections to the real world in some way, such as predicting the deaths of real people, showing dead bodies, or warnings of catastrophes yet to come. Most lost episodes were not that good, but there were a few gems of course, and I still can't help but to miss these simpler days of creepypasta. Unlike nowadays, where the title has to be the length of a Twitter post, and the community wants to take itself seriously to the point where they reject a lost episode or video game pastas, but all that's left is hour-long stories where it takes 20 minutes to get to the horrors, and the horrors is pretty much, there is a stain on the wall, it gets bigger, and I go insane or something. It's almost as if you rejected the fun stuff that wasn't scary but still entertaining for the sake of trying to prove to the critics who called you cringe wrong, but all you did was made it boring. And people wonder why the classics that were so supposedly terrible are still way more talked about today than the current stuff. Gee, it's a real mystery.
Wow, that was incredible.
Of course, The Simpsons has a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. Honestly, what doesn't at this point? We've got Disney, SpongeBob, Mario, Chuck E. Cheese, and even McDonald's at this point. One thing that separates this game from the other Five Nights at Freddy's fan titles is the use of 2D artwork rather than 3D models, artwork that tries to replicate the style of the show, and it does a pretty alright job at it. The story is that a new diner opens up, and with the help of Professor Fink, they have built AI-controlled animatronics, the Simptronics, to entertain others and boost business. You sit in the security couch from 12 AM to 6 AM. During the nighttime, however, the animatronics start making their way towards you, as you must use the security system and the doors to survive the night. Pretty standard stuff for a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. Each animatronic has their own behavior, just like the game it's based on. Bart and Lisa act as the Bonnie and Chica of the game, as they'll make their way to your position as you have to close the door when they arrive. Marge carries Maggie around, and when she gets to your door, she'll attempt to throw the baby into your room like a responsible parent would. Homer will try to charge into your office full force. You also have an Apu animatronic that acts as a shop, and other characters with their own behaviors. It's a fine Five Nights at Freddy's fan game with a ton of references to the show. And with it using 2D artwork instead of 3D models, much like One Night at Flumpty's, it sticks out from the crowd. The Simpsons has been going on for over 30 years now, and with it making jokes at the expense of Hollywood, real-world problems, politics, and well, just about everything, it was bound to be ahead of its time, arguably as much as it can come off as the opposite. I don't think I need to remind people of stuff like Lisa Goes Gaga or Bart the Gamer. Point is, there's a reason why the series was able to stay relevant after all these years, but with it making fun of the real world so much, there have been times where it wasn't just ahead of the time, but it even predicts it. Now, of course, I'm sure many of these predictions are purely coincidental. If you make jokes at the expense of the real world for over 30 years, you're bound to accidentally predict a few things. It's even gotten to the point where people have edited screenshots to make it seem like they've predicted certain events, and some just believe it because of the reputation of Simpsons predictions. Here are a few just to take note of. In the Season 10 episode, When You Wish Upon a Star, there's a billboard that shows the 20th Century Fox logo with the text, "A division of the Walt Disney Company." This episode came in 1998, and only 20 years later would Disney actually buy Fox and all of its properties, including The Simpsons. In the Season 11 episode, Bart of the Future, they predicted how Donald Trump would become the US president, which happened in 2016. In the Season 6 episode, Lisa's Wedding, we time skip to the distant future of 2010. In the episode, Lisa calls her mom in a video chat. Video chatting services like Chat Roulette or Skype have existed well before the year of 2010, but in 2010, FaceTime was released. They also predicted other things, such as murder hornets in the US, the legalization of marijuana, smartwatches, and several Super Bowl related events. Sometimes it can even get so specific that it feels a bit eerie. But of course, these are either coincidences or just really good guesses. But what if they aren't?
Just call me Air Homer.
For our last horror, we have Eggs for Bart, a fan game where you play as Homer, as you must collect eggs for Bart. Unlike Homer's Homicide, this game is a third-person horror game. You get Homer to sneak around the house to search for eggs. Once you have enough eggs, you must escape the house. The main monster here is Marge, who patrols the house and will give you chase if she sees you. She can be hard to escape, so it's better to watch her patterns and not get caught. With every night that passes, a new Simpsons family member becomes corrupted. Lisa, Bart, and Maggie all want Homer dead. Each has their own method of attack or behavior you must take note of. For me, the biggest pain is Maggie. Maggie is stationary at one place in the map, and if you hear her crying, you have a short time to reach her and soothe her. The problem is that the time you get to reach Maggie varies. It can take what feels like minutes before she attacks, or even just a few seconds. Sometimes not nearly enough time to reach her, even if you ran full sprint to her area. I say area because this game has multiple episodes and maps, which is why I saved this one for the end. It's the game that's the most expansive, with new maps, stories, and content than the others. The second episode has you play as Ned Flanders, in a forest as you must find out what happened to the Simpsons family. You are guided by the ghost of Barney. In the final episode, you play as Chief Wiggum as Homer becomes the main monster. The level changes into a wireframe map with a reference to cheat codes from The Simpsons Hit and Run. This game has the most content, the most maps, the most references, and is the longest of the bunch. I think that alone deserves praise. And with the show still going on to this day, and most likely not going away anytime soon, we're going to get a lot more horrors like this one. Thank you for watching. Here's to Season 4 of Cackling Pumpkins. Your connection will be strange.